in the name of colonization. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today's video is going to look a little bit different. We're going to be colonizing a village in every biome, speedrun edition. I have to play this on 1.16 because for the life of me I couldn't set the timers on like the more recent versions and Fabric was just not cooperating. Anyway, the goal of today's video will be to colonize every village type as quickly as possible, and maybe on the way explain a little bit about colonization, why it's important and how it's still relevant today. So sit back, relax, get a cup of tea and enjoy. Right, so the aim is to colonize every village, and I already spot one over there, which I'm just gonna make my way there. I don't know why I decided to start my intro on top of a tree. Colonization has many impacts on how we see the world today, and I think many impacts on how, like the development of the world that we see today. There we go. Colonization shifted what a lot of development looks like, and a lot of what the world looks like, and it really shifted, made some countries really, really wealthy and have other countries really suffer with how they can develop as a country. I feel like I'm just waffling right now because I'm looking for food. I do not have food. Oh, there you go. So there are two different types of colonization as we know it in like the main literature. One is extractive institutions or extractive colonization. The other is inclusive or settlement colonization. And even though inclusive sounds better, it's not actually better. And I'm gonna tell you why. Extractive colonization, like they can't settle in the land, so like they focused on exploiting it and just taking all the resources, whether it be manpower or I don't know, like a lot of it is based on land and resources like raw minerals. I forgot to take a bed. I'm an idiot. Yeah, taking raw minerals or like planting and stuff. Like a lot of the times, not a lot, but some of the times they would establish colonies in like places like the Caribbean or Africa because they can, you know, have sugar plantations or like cotton plantations and grow cotton and sugar in areas that they can't grow in, you know, in their home country, and then take all the money and all the resources and all the economy that comes out of it, all the income. Extractive institutions exploit the land, exploit the people, exploit the common in that area, whilst inclusive institutions actually cares a little more about settling down in the land, and both of them are usually through conquest, but it will be more prominent in extractive institutions. Yay! Okay, second checked. A really good example of extractive institution is the case of Africa. There was like, I think it's called the Sprawl for Africa. So I don't know if you noticed, but like a lot of African countries were colonized by a lot of European countries. And that was slay. Dude. Okay. Why am I getting all the god loot here? Onwards to the next one. Bro. I want the helmet. See, I'm acquiring all of their wealth. Give me that torch. Yeah, so inclusive or settlement colonization are often less as exploitative, they're usually focusing on settling on the land, like I said before, using that land for usually service-related things. Is either like a good location for trade, or like stuff that's related to the economy, on the service sector of the economy, rather than agriculture, like cotton or sugar. But a lot of the times, because they're settling there, there are a lot of effects on the community itself, usually displacing indigenous communities because they're not as used or as respected. Like they prefer their own people, or they would prefer a particular type of people. So there are lots of examples of all around the world. I think one of them is Rwanda, where the British preferred a particular tribe over another. Don't quote me on it, but this is just what I read. I think the British preferred one tribe over another, and this resulted in the Rwandan genocide, where there was a lot of things that happened between the colonization and the genocide, but it ultimately led to like a lot of disputes between people in the community and different tribes in Rwanda, and yeah, there was like an overthrown. Like one of the tribes was like overthrowing the other. I think something along the lines of that. Where am I going? I need to commit to a particular direction. Another example would be like a few places in Asia, right on the top of my head, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, the Philippines. Those ones are more of like a settlement colony rather than, for sure Hong Kong, Macau are more of a settlement colony. Oh my days, yeah, another example would be like the whole of America, like the Americas, like not just, we can also say like even back in like the Inca Empire, when the Spanish decided to settle in South America, the whole of US, like it's just, yeah, so much of how the US is now is because of colonization. You can often tell, like it's quite easy to tell when, like which country is colonized purely by the language. Like countries that aren't in the UK but speak English, colonized by the UK. I'm here to colonize villages, not room portals. And yeah, we don't really see extractive colonization that much anymore in the modern era. But inclusive or like settlement colonization are a lot harder. Yeah, they're a lot harder to spot. And sometimes it might even sound altruistic. Which leads on to my next point actually, neo-colonization. Neo is, well, it says NEO, but it kind of also means like modern day colonization. Like the way I see it is like new is like new, like NEW. Like new colonization, modern day colonization, revival, like you see neoclassical, neoliberal, neo, all that. They're all the same, neo and EO. So yeah, new colonizations is the type of colonization we see in the modern era, and is usually because of colonization, the power dynamic from like dependent countries or countries that were colonized to the countries that colonized, like the former colonies. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Okay, I wrote down colonized and former dependencies. I like that word better than former colonies. Neocolonialism is usually based on like power dynamics, like trying to gain some power either through political means or economic means, and sometimes even social means, like trying to keep some form of control over former colonies and former dependencies. Apologies. And colonization kind of plays into like the resource curse theory, which I might make a proper video on natural resources and what that means in terms of sustainable development. But yeah, the resource curse theory basically means that countries that might have the most abundant resources aren't usually the most wealthy. So there might, some economists argues that there's actually like a negative correlation between the amount of resources there are and the wealth that you have. Like, just because you have a lot of resources doesn't mean that you're wealthy. You can also call that like the geography hypothesis, which I've made. Well, I think that's my first video was on the geography hypothesis. Geography hypothesis, your location has an effect on your wealth. Some people in really rich, abundant places, countries, they are more likely to develop faster. Whereas resource curse theory says, actually, no, your location doesn't make that much of a difference. And people who are actually from wealthier countries perhaps has less opportunities to develop, because there are more people trying to colonize it and gain power and gain all that wealth from you. And so really, the more resources you have, the more vulnerable you might become, which is such an interesting theory. Like, it's such an interesting concept to have. Like, just think about, like, even in Minecraft, like, if you're in a server, you have a lot of wealth. Wealth makes you vulnerable, but it also gives you kind of more protection. Like, it's quite oxymoronic, and yeah, I feel like such an interesting concept. And it's also really interesting in terms of geography hypothesis and colonization, is that they settle in places that they want to live. And I think this is more of geography hypothesis, is they, like, for example, if you're in the desert, like I'm now, you get colonized by a bunch of people, but they're from, usually colonizers are from like the West, you know, like Europe and everything. Well, it's only Europe. They can't live in the desert because their bodies are biologically in tune with like colder climates. And so if you're in the desert and they're like, oh, I want to colonize this place, you're kind of just cooked. Like, this is definitely an extractive colonization, because they're not living here. So they're just gonna come, get what they want, and then just, like, you know, leave. Like, that's so sad. Okay, I won't take everything. I'm mean, but I'm not that mean. Alright, what goods do you have for me? You guys are poor. Do you got a golem for me? Kabing. Should I nick one of these wood? Yeah. Nick one of these wood as well. Okay. Bedtime. Well, yeah, this is what you call exploitative institutions. Like, I'm just breaking the land. I'm not repairing it. I tried to, but I was like, no, I'm colonizing. Is that a different acacia? I think it's different. Bro, you guys are neighbors. Well, I'm colonizing that too. I'm not even gonna kill the golem, not worth it, but I'll get the bell. Any village. I don't see one. But I'll go to the temple. Oh, these rabbits are so cute. I want a rabbit in real life. Do I have any like fun facts about colonization? Why do people colonize? Why do people do it? Because they're greedy. Also, a friend of mine said that was because back in the day, the wealthier you are, the more likely you will be viewed as being blessed by God, which is another Plains village, which is really silly in my opinion, because it's like literally in the Bible it's like don't be greedy. So but what? They tell you not to be greedy, but then somehow that's skewed into a perception of, oh, you're blessed by this God who tells you not to be greedy if you are rich. Like, logic not found. I'm gonna get that bell though. I wanna sort. Okay, I've just walked into a child sleeping. I apologize. You know what those golems remind me of? Like the thing from like that Studio Ghibli film. Like oh my days, what's it called? What's that thing called? Cause like he gives a flower. That robot from like, is it called Castle? I think the film's called Castle in the Sky. And there was like these robots that like take care of these kids. And it's about the girl with like the pendant of, I forgot what it's called. I guess what's really interesting is like the remnant of colonization. Like, even if you're in a country that is like, well, was colonized but is like really, really wealthy now. Or in like a location that was colonized but like really, not really wealthy but really well off. You're still impacted by the effects of colonization, even if they've left, even if they have little to no control. I find that so interesting. Like it's such a big part of history, and I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it enough. And it does affect, like it does impact like sustainable development. Dog. Right. Bruh. I see it. Okay, now give me village. Bruh. You're in a desert. I'll get a bell there. Where's your bell, honey? I've got 2 bells. So I found 3 deserts, but no village. Right. Yikes. I see some smoke. But smoke also means spruce, I believe. Oh! Don't mind if I do. Alright, village. Please, I've been here for way too long. Yay! I totally did not cheat to get here. Last one, last stop. There's another one? Don't mind me. Ma. Like a block of snow. From your house. Thank you. Where's your bell? Thank you. Alright, pleasure doing business with you, sir. Wait. So, right, okay. Yeah, so... 3 villages. Right, pleasure doing business with you, sir. I'll be off, unless you have something more to give me. I'm so sick of it. Get me out of this torture. This is my 4th desert and still no desert village. Okay, okay. There's another desert. There is hope. Wait. Oh my days. The wait is over. And we're done with... I'm not gonna stop the timer, but I don't know how to. 1 hour and 50 minutes. I'll go here and place all my bells. And then I'll place all the things I nicked from different villages. 15! I guess some of them had. Some of them had like 2 bells, and I just took both of them. Okay, terracotta is sand, like desert. Got spruce. Got acacia. Got snow, which will probably melt. Yellow, that's for plains. But yeah, like and subscribe if you found this interesting or learned something new. Really helps me out. Yeah. Peace.